After what seems an age, you start to come back from the void. Your insides twist, and your body is racked with pain. The sickness forces you awake, and through the haze of your discomfort, you realize you're sitting, once again, in a cell. I'm Anarch Silver.
How long have we been here?
Well, we are at sea, given where we were. Shattered Isles seems like the most realistic destination. It was dark, and now it is light. My name is Sahid.
How do we get out of here?
You hear the thudding of heavy footsteps. Boom, 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 boom. A large, morbidly obese woman plods down the stairs.
Are your fingers as quick at grasping as they are at punching, warrior?
They are.
I pick up the bit of bread and I lob it at the child.
In the pandemonium of screaming from the child, the mother turns on you. The keys have been dropped, you've gone to reach for them. With all the screaming, you hear more thudding coming down the other steps. And you see another creature of a similar make and mold, except he seems to be male, based on different proportions. Dad has also arrived.
Uh-oh.
You hear thunder cracks outside and the wind has built up to a howling gale. Suddenly you hear a scream from somewhere above deck. Brace! Chapter 3 of Cast of Players, The Ritual of the Blood Temple. As you have already seen, we left our party last time in quite an awkward position. They seemed to be upon a sinking vessel. The water has started to pour in. As I've mentioned, all of you have managed to get to your feet. There is a huge rend down the center of the ship, splitting you from your newfound friends, and the four of you are on one side. The other three, Anarch gets to his feet, he kind of looks up to the opposite stairs, he nods at you all, and they wade through the water and go out the stairs, up onto the deck. What would you like to do?
The same thing, post haste.
Excellent. So all of you wade through the water. It seems to be actually coming down quite quickly. You come out on the deck and chaos has broken loose. It seems Nagal has deemed your vessel unworthy for his aquatic realm. You're in the midst of a mighty storm. Thundering waves are crashing onto the deck. Lightning streaks the sky and torrential rain is pouring down. You see that you have run aground on a reef and the ship is being torn in half. Crewmen are running around helplessly trying to bail the ship out with buckets or throwing things overboard in vain hope that if she's lighter she may stay afloat longer. Barking orders at the crew are 2 men. Both are adorned in a black, almost samurai-style garb. They were. Sorry, forgive me. I've spelt something wrong here. They wear, not were. They wear metal-enforced leather breastplates and gauntlets on their arms. On their sides, you see long samurai-style swords. They have no distinguishing features on any of their armor, except both are wearing long, oval, pallid white masks. They have 2 slits for eye holes, and a red tear can be seen oozing from the left eye.
Whoa.
When they see you, they immediately head towards both of you. Initiatives, please. Right, it is now time to roll your initiatives. We will start this way this time. Jericho, mixing it up again.
It's a 4.
A 4, very good. Next, Pollux.
9.
9, very good.
18 plus 3, 21.
Ooh,
Very nice.
okay, very good. And you, Rin?
6 plus 3 is 9.
9, okay, nice. And then for me. Interesting.
What? Always ominous.
Okay. Can you roll again, please?
18 again.
Very good. Okay, cool. So, this is how it will go. It will start with you, Longclaw, then it will go to these 2 samurai warriors coming towards you with the masks, then it will go to Rin, then it will go to Pollux, and then it will go to Jericho. Okay, very good. So, essentially, you've come out here, these 2 have been barking orders, trying to put the ship together. This is where the tear is starting to happen. It seems that once you're on deck, it's not quite as visible as it is underneath,
Right.
but you can see that the floorboards are starting to buckle. You are on a ship deck. As you can see, you are surrounded by lots of different things. You are currently unarmed, but you are your own weapon. But there will be other things up there. Potentially, if you want to look for them, you just have to ask. Because these 2 look like they mean business.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
So they've drawn their swords and
Yes,
they're coming
and they're coming
towards.
towards you.
Right. Hakote sees this and he just reacts to them. Yeah, I imagine. Is there a coastline that we can see anywhere, by the way?
So it's now, so the sun has kind of dipped behind all of the clouds. This storm is so dark, it feels like it's the middle of the night. It's probably actually earlier. The sky has actually got that green darkness around it. There's lightning flashes everywhere. You can't see that far past the ship other than waves crashing. There are a few oil lamps and torches which are sort of lighting the way, but it is dark and you'll mainly be fighting by the cracking of lightning strikes.
So it's all raining on us
Yeah.
and everything. Okay.
That's epic!
Yes. So as they draw their weapons and then take a step forwards, Hakote also steps forwards and he says, "If the gods will, I die this day, and you will go with me." And he starts sprinting at them. He jumps over the forming crack in the middle of the deck and then goes in for a scissor kick, crack, crack, on the side of the first one's skull.
Very cool.
And it actually crumples his helmet.
Does it indeed?
Yes, it does.
Let us see.
That's an 11 plus 5, 16.
That is a hit on the first one.
Okay, D4 damage. That is 2 + 3, 5 points of damage.
Okay,
and then
very
that
good.
second kick in the same spot as the first. It's again an 11 + 5, 16 again.
Another hit.
Wow. And he does 6 damage this time, 3 + 3.
So he's drawn his sword, and as you yell that, obviously, you just don't see anything. This mask is obscuring any sort of emotion. But as you leap forward, it's almost like you sense a slight apprehension suddenly. As you boot him around his mask, it goes. Now, when you hit the mask, it's actually a lot harder than you would have expected it to be, and it seems to hold the sort of structure of itself, but you feel crunching underneath as you batter him. He stumbles back for a moment. He was not expecting that sort of level of attack to come straight out of there. It is, alas, however, his turn to retaliate.
Did it crumple his helmet?
No, I just explained that.
Crumple his helmet.
No, I just said that the structure of the masks is actually quite strong.
Oh,
but
yes.
Where the damage felt was like the impact was inside. So you felt like bones and stuff moving around.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent.
Yeah.
Carry on.
We good? Yeah, no.
I was lost in the storm.
Right. So this is the one you've just hit here. So he kind of has a moment, and what he does is he comes around. So you've kind of landed, and he comes around and he goes to take out the bottom of one of your legs, cutting that off. And then as you spin up, he comes back down with his katana and just goes whoosh, stabs you through the air. You fall through the gap into the ocean, and that is the end of your campaign, my friend. The first attack. That is a hit. So he swipes you on your calf.
Yeah.
And you realise that actually these guys are not to be trifled with. He does a total of 7 wounds. So he almost severs your calf muscle.
Right.
He doesn't quite get the puncture wound, which would have finished you.
Yeah.
But you do kind of hit the deck.
Yeah.
And you're kind of looking up, and as you do, you feel this underneath your head, this as the deck is starting to move underneath you. The second one, seeing that you've been incapacitated, jives over as well.
Oh, no.
Runs straight at you, Jericho.
Oh dear.
His sword is drawn, and as he comes along, it's almost like sparks are going off on the wood. It's like and all these splinters of wood are pulling out as he's dragging the katana along with him. He gets you and just goes severing you in half. That is a hit. He does a total of... Where are my dice? They have forsaken me! There we go. He does a total of 5 wounds as he comes out. It cuts straight across. He actually was going to sever the artery on your leg. He cuts straight across. It doesn't quite do it, but you take a hefty wound on the top of your leg.
I only had 5 hit points left.
You only had 5 hit points left.
Yeah.
You are unconscious, my friend.
Wow, okay. Woof.
Brutal stuff. You hit the deck as actually it does sever an artery, and you are starting to bleed out. You go in and out of consciousness, and that is the last we see of you for now.
Wow, okay.
Very good. Next, then it would come around to you, Rin.
Okay. Seeing this blow go straight along your leg and just topple you to the floor, I eye up the warrior. I sort of mutter to myself, "Not sinner." I move my hunter's mark to him.
Okay.
Because it's still active.
Yep.
And I come round and I slam into him with this plank that I'm still holding, I've wrenched from earlier.
Yeah.
And I bring it into, I look for any sort of gap in the armour, some sort of chink, and use the nails to just drive into it.
Okay.
That's my plan. It's a 5 + 2 is the same.
Oh,
So you go to swing at it, and he goes shing, and just catches it there, goes ching, and this mask just slowly goes and looks at you. So then we will come over to Pollux.
Okay.
Is the one that's on us the already damaged one that you did, or is he
No.
still? Okay, right.
This is
fresh.
He's fresh.
Okay, right, fine, cool. So seeing what he's just done to him, and that he's just resisted your first attack, Pollux is in a bad way as well. So it's almost like he's barely keeping his energy together. It's like he's spending most of his energy on trying to stay on his feet. It's been rocking that much. But he sees this happening and he just kind of steels himself. He can feel the static in the air from the electricity of the storm. And he just kind of, he looks inward, he starts making signs with his hand and just goes, "Death is but a doorway." You can see the electricity around his hand. He lashes out on him. I believe I'm in melee range because I'm just across on the diagonal. Cool, very good. So I'm going to cast Shocking Grasp. Does he have metal armor?
What did I say in my description here? Yes, he does.
Cool. So now, if I remember correctly, that I will be taking an attack advantage.
That is correct.
Yes. Oh, one was an 8, but one was a 14.
Is there any pluses to that?
Oh, you need a plus, so yes, it's +5, which is
Okay.
my total proficiencies, etc.
Right. In that case, it does go off.
Yes.
So he's blocked you. Then suddenly, this spindly little hand goes.
Yeah.
And you can see all the electricity kind of surging through his body. It starts to kind of go off the katana as well. Okay, cool. Roll
So
the
it's
damage.
1d8 lightning damage. I do 1 point of damage.
Okay, very good.
Yay.
So it's more of a shock. He goes.
Yeah.
He comes around, ready to strike back. Okay,
shame.
very good. So then the next person it will come around to, in that case, is you, Longclaw.
Right, okay, so I've just leapt up, done that double kick to his head, landed, but he's continued to turn around and then cut my legs out from underneath me.
Yeah.
All right, this wound is really deep, particularly on the left leg. Longclaw is very badly wounded. It's only the rain which sort of is hiding just how much he's actually bleeding out, but the blood is like rushing down the deck into this crack. I imagine what happens is I was cut from behind, I've fallen forward, but he's gone into a roll and then sort of come back up on one knee, turned and looked at this warrior, and I think there's a moment where we stare at each other and there's a newfound respect, because I was expecting him to drop and he was probably expecting me to drop.
And as you're staring at each other, I like when you.
As that happens, Longclaw slowly rises to his full height.
Yeah. And he just grabs his sword and like holds it like this, waiting for you to come in.
So the minute he lowers his sword, there's another beat, and then as the next crack of lightning happens, it's in that moment because it just glints in his eye, and Hakote takes the moment to grab his blade, and he actually snaps it and drives it into his face.
Go on then! Go on then! Let's see if you do it. Roll a critical. Do it.
It's a 1.
So what happens is you go to grab it, and it's the lightning actually messes you up.
Yes.
Yeah, so
It probably glints it off of his blade
glints
into
off
my
there.
eye.
And he goes shh, and you get like a superficial thing,
Sure.
but it doesn't actually hurt you. But he goes shing, and then he stares at you dead in the face.
So as I fail to do that technique because I'm suddenly blinded by the very moment which I tried to take an opportunity of, instead I try and use it to my advantage. I flick the blood off my hand into his eyes, spin, and do a spinning heel kick round the side of his other temple.
Okay, very good.
This is Flurry of Blows.
Sure.
everyone. This time I get a natural 20.
Excellent.
Did I
Very
stutter
good.
the first
You
time?
did not. You did not.
So I
Okay.
believe I rolled 2d4 now and just +3.
Yes, correct.
So I just doubled the dice rather than the actual
Yeah.
additional. So in this instance, I rolled a 4 and a 1. So 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage with that spinning heel kick.
So what happens is you do that. Just hang on a sec. Yeah, that's cool. What happens is you do that, and you knock the mask clear of his face. He spins, and he kind of stumbles, and he puts the katana in to kind of push himself back up, and he looks up and looks you in the eyes, and you see that it is Quinn.
Oh wow.
And he goes, and comes at you.
Quinn!
It is now his initiative. So we will come back. So he charges. So you've just battered him in the face. He's all dazed and stuff. But he comes at you, does like this flurry of stabbing blows. You kind of trying to dodge them, but it's the third one that comes and gets you. And on a 3, that will be a miss.
It's good because I've only got 3 hit points.
He's going it's like this last rage attack. You're just going. We do come over to the other one now. So, having already incapacitated this fellow here, he's just blocked your blade. He goes, flicks it up, just a quick stab straight in the throat, and also you die.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, mystery dice rolled. That is a hit. So he goes, it slashes you across the throat. He does a total of 5 wounds.
I'm still alive.
So, but it's a quite a bad cut that you. So you go.
I managed to move just out of the way as it goes
before
across.
it would have been a kill shot. Now this guy is not very injured.
No.
And it comes back to you now, Rin. So it is time for you to hit.
Right, if I could actually hit, that would be great.
It'd be great.
But I'm using strength. I'm not a strong man. So at sort of holding that, so his blade's gone across there. I bat it out the side with this plank of wood and nails that I have, and then bring it on an upswing, catch him underneath, critical, he dies.
Do it!
Done. It's an 8 plus 2 is a 10. It does
Oh,
nothing.
come on. You miss, it just goes past. You miss. So that will now come across to you, Pollux.
Right. So, yeah, so I cast Shocking Grasp, but I see that it didn't do all that much before. So that's when I kind of recoil again, really kind of concentrate, close my eyes, reach one hand up like this, the other does the sigil and goes back into his body again. And as that's happening, I imagine a lightning bolt.
He's calling the storm.
Goes down this arm, into this other arm, into my left hand, into the warrior, and I do a critical and kill him, and all that.
And it's all at advantage because he is wearing metal armor.
Yes. Come on, baby. Well, one's a 7, plus 5 in total. That makes it a 12.
Nothing.
No.
You got a 7 on advantage?
I guess I did, Joe.
I can't
Yeah.
talk, I'm dead.
So it now comes around to you, Jericho. So you are unconscious. So you need to make a death saving throw.
Yeah.
Description
So
says
D10,
something.
right?
Yes.
D20.
No, D20.
A 20?
If you roll a 20,
You get up.
half of that is a 10.
Rolled a 10.
Oh.
Okay. So you haven't failed on a 10, I don't believe.
I believe you get 1 success.
Yeah, you get a success on a 10. That's right. I think it's
Excellent.
below. From
Yeah,
memory,
it's
below
it's
10
below
is
10.
when you get a fail.
Yeah, right.
So you're unconscious, but you're getting better.
Okay, that's good. I'm working on it.
I'm getting better.
He's doing his best. Right, it now comes back to you, Logclaw.
Right, so he's come at me in this rage with this flurry of stabs. I'm literally deflecting them. I keep backing away towards the crack in the deck of the ship, and I wait for the moment where he overthrusts. I then just let the blade go forwards, grab both of his arms, and what happens is I continue to pull him through towards this opening in the deck. And he sort of staggers and starts to fall, and goes to try and catch me because he doesn't want to fall into this ever-emerging crack in the deck.
Yeah.
And I grab both of his wrists and snap them at the joints, and he tries to grab on to the deck, but it's just like.
But he can't.
No,
he can't.
And
He
just
disappears
falls
into the ocean. Well, let's see if you hit.
That's a 12 plus 5, so 17.
That's it.
D4. No.
exactly what you say happens.
Nice.
So he comes through, you grab both, you get out of the way, you grab both, you snap it, and it's almost like to think you just kind of like kick him a little bit in the back.
It's complete disregard.
And he just goes, and so he falls.
But I am holding on to his sword now.
Okay, well, not sure about that.
But it's a disarm. It was his own momentum.
Well,
That's
wasn't it?
martial arts.
It was an attack.
Come on now.
You're not holding on to his sword.
Okay.
But he does, so exactly, he tries to kind of grab at the deck, and you almost see he's like, this is fine. And then he realizes that he can't actually use his hands. He goes, doom, 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 disappears into the ocean. If you'd like to remove that model, please. And that is the end of Quinn, your friend. Maybe not.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Things.
So it then comes back to the other fellow on the other side. So you've just struck out at him. You've missed again. He kind of levels his sword and just looks at you, Rin. Just goes, and he faints one way and then comes through the other and slices you across the chest. No. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He misses just. So you kind of just get out of the way and goes across there. But yes, and that is his. So it's actually now your turn to retaliate. So he's just slashed out at you again, like lightning strikes going all around.
So he's sort of gone across to my chest. I've breathed in a little bit like that, and as he's sort of gone, I've spun the plank down and I crack it across his arms.
Okay, very good.
I'm going to use a different dice.
Oh! It's still a 7 plus 2.
Oh, you're kidding me!
I would like a dexterity weapon sometime soon, please.
All good things come to those who are still alive. Right, we come now to you, Pollux.
Yes. So it doesn't so much stop casting. It's like the first time he tried to do it, instead of going and hit him, it's almost like it just exploded in his hand. But he just kind of refocused himself, and he just continues to cast Shocking Grasp.
So there's still like this energy bolt.
It's
just like been going for ages.
Yeah.
And like what's actually, even though it's raining quite hard, like it's starting to smoke around your feet as you just become a conduit of electricity.
And I also imagine, because of the energy that surrounds me, like some of the drops of rain don't hit the ground; they just go.
Off this force, which keeps getting bigger. Okay, cool. Let's see what you can do.
Okay, so one's a 4 and one is a 12 plus 5. That's 17. That's a hit.
That
surely.
is a hit.
Yes.
It is.
Very good. Okay.
Your damage, sir.
6.
6. So this time the actual energy pulse seems to double down into him. He goes, he is not dead, but it definitely hits him where he doesn't like it. So then we come around to you, Jerick. Would you like to make your saving throw?
Yes, please. 14. It is pass.
It's a pass. Okay, very good. So you're pretty much stable at this stage, but if you could roll a 20 and get up and do something epic, I would like that very much.
Yeah, okay.
It's coming. It's coming. Okay, very good. So now we'll come around to you, Logclaw.
Okay, when I broke Quinn's wrists, did he drop the sword on the deck?
No, it went with him.
It went with him, okay.
You're not getting the sword.
Okay, so in which case, that's fine. I was going to toss it to my boy over here, but no. Okay, so I will then...
I'd still miss with it.
I will flip over and charge from behind. But basically, I watch him drop, and there's like a moment of satisfaction that this betrayer of men has come to a grisly end in the ocean's depths.
Yeah.
He then leaps over the emerging crack and runs through the rain and jumps up, does a flying kick into the back of this one's spine, just at the base, just above the lumbar, and breaks the spine.
Okay.
Now, I think I can do a flurry of blows at the end of a move, can't I? Because I still get the additional attack after, because it's an unarmed attack, right?
Yeah, so when you have your turn, you can do like actions, move, bonus actions in any order as long as you've met the prerequisites. So you could be like, I do a normal attack, and then I move, and then I
do my
use my
bonus action.
martial arts to do
got
my
it.
bonus attack.
Got it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So in this instance, the first attack is that kick. I do roll a 19.
It's a hit.
Okay.
See, I imagine because he's so charged with electricity.
Yeah, he's
like
like
your foot's coming and goes.
rigid. Yes. D4 plus 3. I roll only a 1, so it's 4 damage total.
Okay.
Is he still standing at this
Yes.
point? Okay, so as I crack into him with this kick, I see that he's still standing. I use the momentum as I'm springing back off of him to whip my other leg around and bring it round his head and land hard on the ground, snapping his neck.
Okay, very good.
That is a 3 plus a 5. That will be a miss.
Yeah, so the next one just misses wildly in the air. A big gust of air comes in and just pushes you slightly off.
Yeah.
It is now his turn to retaliate. So he's just gone, he's just missed that. He looks up, he's wounded. He also realizes that everyone else is wounded as well. He's got lots of threats, but he feels that probably this caster that keeps surging energy into the world and shooting it into him is probably more of a problem.
Oh, come on now.
So he kind of backs you off. The electricity's kind of still kind of going into him, I like to think. So what he kind of does is he's like getting kicked and stuff, and he kind of puts his katana down and just pushes it through the bolt straight at you.
Yeah.
And actually it splits the magic, goes straight through your hand and into your skull.
Woo.
What is your armor class, please?
10.
That's a hit. He does a total of 6 damage.
Alright. I'm down to 0.
You're down to 0.
Yeah.
Are you below 0?
Well, yes, I'm below. I was 2, so
Yeah.
I'm -4.
That means nothing.
That means
Yeah.
nothing. Well,
You need to do
I'd need to do
double.
-9 because his hit points are 8.
You'd need to do all of the damage to take him down to the max hit points,
Right,
basically.
and then you would be dead.
Yeah.
but that is not what happens.
Instantly.
No.
But you are. So what happens is, as he does that, this like little energy ball just goes, and kind of everyone kind of gets knocked off their feet as
Yeah,
well
yeah.
as all the electricity just dissipates. And he kind of, and so it does go through the hand and it kind of pierces you in the face. You go, and then he goes, shing, and you're just going to go, falling to the ground. So he stands up and he goes, shing, and he stares back at the pair of you.
It's just the two of us.
It's just the two of you left, and it is now you.
Right. I'm getting very annoyed now.
Come on, Shep! Finish him!
Okay, so
Finish
as
him,
he
Chef!
sort of turns around and he actually like turns to face, he's just met with this nail in the face.
It's an 11 plus 2 is 13.
No.
Oh!
No, unfortunately not.
Didn't think it would be.
Okay, that's fine. So then...
So the nail just ricochets off of his mask, and I'm just like,
Yeah, you can these 2 scratch marks go there, but he's just you can hear him smiling at you. He just and you just know, like you can't see anything through the slits, but you know he's just going. You're next. We come around to you now, Pox. You need to make a death saving throw. So roll a d20, please.
Yes. D20. Oh, there it is. Thank you. 7.
So you fail. That is not a success. If you get 2 more of those, your character is removed from the campaign.
Okay.
Excellent. We then come over to you, Jericho.
Yes. Okay.
20. Do it! Oh, it's enough. So you
that's a
fail.
fail.
Okay, so you're now back to 1 success. So you're still unconscious at this stage. We now come back to you, Longclaw. He has felled 2 of your friends. It is time for you to be somebody.
Okay. So I've cracked him in the back in his back. He's almost ignored me going for this threat. Cut you down, and then you've smashed him, but it's just cracked the mask. Not even cracked the mask. Scratched the mask. Okay. In which case, Longclaw comes around, brings both of his hands around either side of his neck. You hear this palpable snapping sound as it breaks his neck, just in the soft points underneath his helmet, his mask. It's 11 plus 5, 16.
That's a hit.
Okay, D4 damage.
Kill him.
That is 2 plus 3, 5 points of damage he takes.
Okay, so you snap him in the neck. He stumbles back. He is still on his feet.
Okay.
It's like
To
that,
make me
is
do
it?
it, didn't you?
I did.
Right, so I whack him in the neck, he sort of staggers, and I can imagine there's some blood coming from underneath his mask now. As he's staggering back, Longclaw does a somersault kick, so one of his legs just flips up, catches him under the chin as he's staggering back, and that snaps his neck. 20. It's a 14 plus 5, that's 19.
That's a hit.
Yes. D4 plus 3 damage. That is 3 plus 3, that's 6 points of damage from my somersault kick.
Describe how the somersault kick kills this man.
Yes! Okay, so it literally, as I described, it just collects him under the chin, his mask suddenly is torn off, you hear the snap of the neck, and he lands hard on his back, sliding up the deck, just to the side of the boats there.
An epic battle fought with much blood and destruction.
Brutal.
2 of your party are now unconscious. We'll be back to see what happens in just a sec. So, as he is somersault kicked and his neck snaps and he flies overboard, I like to think. Almost as he hits the water, you hear this horrific cracking sound. As the ship literally tears itself in half. You hear a voice saying, "Abandon ship! Save yourselves!" And you see that what's left of the crew start to pick up things like barrels and stuff and jump overboard. You guys are in an awkward position. 2 of your party are unconscious, and it is up to you to see if you can get off this ship alive. One thing I will say is, as the ship is tearing apart, there is lots of different debris and stuff starting to float in the water. What is it that you try and do at this time?
Well, Hakose, as he finished that kick, he would have actually immediately gone to the aid of one or both of them, whoever was nearest me. I think it would have been you, actually, because you were just cut down in front of me.
Yeah.
So he will try and see if there's anything he can do for the wounds.
Sure, so you'll be able to stabilize them, and
Yeah.
I'll allow you just to do that. That's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, vice versa. So as you sort of come along, you've kicked him, like landed, stopped, looked around. I beeline for yeah. I mean, I presume that you would have gone bang and gone straight
Yeah, he's at my
to
feet.
Pollux. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would have gone past you to Jericho and
Okay.
stabilized as well, just to make sure, like not necessarily stabilized, just kind of go. Yeah, like he's breathing. It's okay.
They are both breathing. They are stabilized, but they are unconscious for a time. It's a D4 hours.
1d4 hours, yeah.
Only the one.
Only the one, fair enough.
Even worse.
And for you, Pollux?
3.
3. Okay, very good. So they are both out for the count. The ship is tearing itself apart. You see on the other side of the ship, as it's torn apart, you see Anarch, and you also see Sahid, as well as the dark-skinned warrior. Anarch and Sahid, they grab this huge crate and they throw it in the water. It looks like it floats. They jump in afterwards. The dark-skinned warrior sees that you guys are in a bit of trouble. He runs over and he jumps the length of the gap and lands with you. He picks him up over his shoulder, and he looks at you two to grab him.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
to.
cool. As this happens, you hear this, you look up, and the mast actually crashes in between into the gap where you were all left. He looks down, he looks at all of you, he jumps into the water and lands on this thing with his arm, and he places you over the top, and he's holding on to you, keeping your head out of the water. He looks at you as if saying, if you don't jump now, you're going to die.
Yeah. I grab, I'm assuming you grab an arm as well
Yeah.
of Jericho here. I grab up the other arm.
I look to you and I just, I sort of mutter, "Hola mi nunca naga."
Bahana be with you, he starts saying. And we jump.
You can jump,
Yeah.
sure. So, for the sake of this, I'm not going to make you make any rolls or anything for this. because it's session 2, and I don't want to start killing you all. But you do land. It is very tough going. You manage to finally drag him on because he's a big boy. You manage to drag him on, get him in a spot where, and the mast is quite thick, so you can actually lie these guys almost on their back as long as you're holding them.
Yep.
The ship tears itself apart, and suddenly a big wave comes through the center of it, and you're kind of pushed out into the ocean. You are saved, or so you think. So you drift on this mast for a while. You've lost Anak and Sahid. You can't see them anywhere. One thing that is quite odd that especially you would notice, Rin, is there seems to be a pulling of the mast that you're on, and it doesn't necessarily feel like the tide. By now, the storm has dissipated, and it's early morning, and you see land. This pull seems to be drawing you towards this narrow stretch. It's a small cove that you can see. At the pace you're going, it's probably going to take you a little while to get there. If there's anything that anyone wants to say, by this stage you two have awoken.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Tremendous.
So we're in the ocean.
Yeah, holding on to this.
So what happens instead of just kind of gradually waking up, Pollux just kind of like opens his eyes, having like forgotten everything that's just happened, and just kind of looks at what's going on around him, and just starts going, he's like really startled. Mm-hmm. He's just trying, and he's like, unless you guys want to say anything or anything, like, he's just
Jose puts a hand on your chest gently.
Yeah.
Calm.
What happened?
The ship we were on is sunk. You were cut down.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. You fought well. And is Jericho staring?
Yes.
So I'm awake, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So he's sort of looking worn out, like it's taken a lot out of him. He kind of nearly died. He sort of looks around. Could you say we can see land? Right?
You can see land, and as you're moving towards it, you're heading towards it's like a narrow stretch of black sand. So it's stained black. So I'm not sure if any of you have ever seen sand which has been stained by like volcanic ash. It looks a bit like that.
Okay.
You're moving steadily towards it, but you're probably a little while away at this stage.
After our interaction, Pollux is still quite spent. So he just kind of like, and it's almost like he doesn't fall out of consciousness again, but he just kind of like his head's too heavy. So yeah.
So seeing the land in the distance, he sort of looks to you two, and sort of like gives you a nod because he sort of knows that he's only here because of you two, and he sort of regards you as well, and sort of looks over to the land, and he's like, "What do you think then? Will it be our doom, or will this be the first light of the dawn of our interesting journey so far?"
It is only by the will of Nagal that we seem to be heading towards this place at all, and that we are still alive upon the seas. Perhaps there is some talk of destiny that Quinn was talking about. But whether it is for good or ill over there, I cannot say. I think we are up to the whims of the gods at this point.
Something's brought us together. It's
would
all
seem
too
that way.
convenient, isn't it?
As the Ashai says, we are not paddling, and yet we are drawn to the shore.
My folks say I'm not dead, and that's probably a good thing.
You are a stubborn man, no?
Aye. I have to be. It's the only thing that keeps me going.
You both fought well.
I don't know about that. I feel like I'm out me prime. These old bones have seen many battles in the past. I feel like the light that guided me once, it's faded somewhat.
Whose light do you follow?
Who do you think? Bahana. She's the one. She's always been the one.
She watches us all.
I hope so. I think I'm... I think I needed to watch over me a bit more than you two. That was far too close.
I'd look to my left leg in particular is actually quite limp, and you can see there's a pretty deep gash in it. Whilst it's got some bandage around it, the seawater has just naturally started to shift it, and I give you an expression like I wasn't that lucky either.
Well, it seems that we've only survived because we've fought together so far.
For a definition of fought. It's been some time since I've had to fight on the front lines. I'm not exactly built for it. A third debt I think is owed to you.
And I regard the dark-skinned warrior.
And you two, I believe, would owe him a debt for sure. We would not have been able to save both of you without his assistance.
I hear that, and I look directly at the large dark-skinned warrior.
He just kind of looks at you and stares out. And although what you all do notice is, although he is a man of titanic, almost heroic proportions, water is definitely something he's not comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he can't swim, but this is something that he's not used to. So it's a very slight crack in that steely facade. You can just see that he's just a bit like, yeah, this isn't for me.
With that, you can see after they've exchanged looks, Pollux just kind of looks inward again. It's almost like you could start to hear the emotion just get a bit too much of him. You can even start to hear him weep a little bit. And he shakes his head saying, what foul game the gods are playing with us. I'm no warrior. I'm a farmer. I was on my way home. What am I doing here? This isn't me. This is not me. It wasn't me. I don't belong here.
None of us belong here, Pollux.
I'm no fighter.
I disagree. From what I have seen, your gift is quite strong. Truly blessed by the gods.
It wasn't me.
Well, you say that, and yet our eyes are not liars.
You see my eyes? You see them change? It's not me.
You or not that is on this floating mast right now, I would not sully Nagal's seas with your tears. He does not take kindly to weakness. You must be strong now.
I will beg him to
Do not beg
forgive me.
the god of storms. You ask for his passage, and he will grant it. You beg, you do not deserve to sail the seas. Sail, as best as we are.
You say it was not you. What do you mean?
When these things happen, I lose control. It's the reason I am the way I am. It wasn't me.
The fires of battle stoke the blood of most warriors. Whether you say you are a fighter or not, you certainly behave like one on the battlefield.
The only thing you hear him say in response to that is, Hieronymus.
With that, you float on. And as you get further, you see that this narrow stretch of coast, the cliffs kind of looked a lot smaller, but as you get closer, they're actually quite sheer. And where you're being drawn to is a narrow, like a very narrow stretch. Not very long at all, probably maybe 300 meters long. You see that there's lots of debris which is washed up from the shipwreck of the previous evening. But more importantly, you see two figures sitting on the beach. And as you get closer, you realize that it is Anak and Sahid. Sahid is meditating, blessing Samsun on his early morning rise. And then Anak is sitting there smoking. Somehow he has managed to keep this pipe dry.
Priority is priority.
Hand above water.
As you get closer, he recognizes you as well, and you just see he kind of goes, gives you a bit of a wave. You'll then start to brought in by the waves themselves. They crash. As you kind of get to waist height, you see that the dark-skinned warrior, he kind of stands up straight and he beelines it out of the water. And he kind of just stands with his eyes shut there, just taking a couple of deep breaths. And then that steely facade just takes over him again, and you never would have seen anything like that. So, as you come onto the beach, Anna goes, "Good morning!
Greetings.
Glad to see you made it through the night. We were slightly worried. Well, he seems to meditate a lot. I've been sitting here smoking, waiting for you. I thought I could see something out there. Couldn't miss him." He points at the warrior. "Big old man, isn't he?" As for a lot of you, they're okay? Last time we saw them, you weren't in such tip-top shape.
I'm fine. As Pollux gets up onto the beach, he just kind of like crouches down, kneels down, and just starts to take it easy.
Take a moment. When you're ready, I have tobacco. Do you smoke, big boy?
I do today. Indeed.
Come along then. All of you are welcome as well. I have a feeling that we are in for quite a day. And as he says that, you hear a booming voice echoing around the cliff face.
Wait, sorry.
"Welcome, warriors, to Woody Kang. I suggest you come peacefully. Take them." On the cliff above you, you see soldiers in those black robes and that same samurai garb that you saw on the ship, all wearing the same masks, looking down at you. You'd say there's probably about 100 in total, all of which have crossbows pointed down at you. The man who is talking to you is the only one whose face is not covered. As like a modern day reference, he looks a bit like Chow Yun-Fat from House of Flying Daggers.
Cool.
So he's got the
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Forgive me. Yeah. So he's got the long braid down there. Although he seems a bit older, and his pointed beard is grey with black streaks through it. The soldiers begin to descend down. You see there's actually a small path. They start to come down, like jogging at a pace, and they come towards you. As they get closer, one of them takes out some bindings, and he kind of nods at you as if you need to put your hands out.
Kote seems hesitant. You can see he shifts his weight and that he winces a bit as he puts his weight on the left leg, realising he's still quite badly wounded. He just looks up at the cliff face, looks to
At this stage, you've got about 80 crossbows.
Yeah, looks to you.
Nagasalvadius.
I reach down into the water, just sort of brush it across my face, look to you.
This is a battle even you cannot win by yourself.
I am not ready to meet the gods today either. I held out my hands.
And hearing that, it's pretty much at the same time, Pollux just kind of looks at him and goes, I'm done fighting. Just holds his arms out.
Very good. So as Anarch, they kind of come over to him and he sits there and he doesn't do anything, and someone knocks the pipe out of his hand. And you see he looks up and he actually stands up and goes to swing at this guy, but he's like, he's just taken down really quickly. He's and they pick him up and they're kind of binding him. He just goes, just pick the pipe up. That's all I ask. And they're shoveling up. He goes, you'll regret it. You will regret this. He gets taken away. 4 of them go over to the Darkskin Warrior to bind him, and they all kind of like creep and looks at them all, and he just kind of goes. And they all you see them like a visible sigh of relief going through the group. They go, okay, bind him up. The only person who hasn't decided if he's going with them is you.
Well, he looks around the rest of the group and he's like, well, this is nothing new, is it really? Shall we just get on with it and see what's next for us? He holds out his wrists.
Very good. Okay. So, you're all bound. So you are led up the path of the cliffs, and as you get into the top, you're actually led into a bamboo forest. Now, as this happens, a light rain starts to come over. It continues to fall, and wind blows through this bamboo forest, and it makes it creak and groan. Other than the sound of your marching feet, actually there is no other sound. There you hear no birds or animal cries. Even insects seem to have abandoned this forest. Slowly, as you probably move for about an hour, the bamboo forest begins to thin and a path opens onto a large clearing, in the middle of which you see, built upon a large mound of earth, a village, surrounded by walls made of bamboo. There is a large watchtower built into its walls, and you can see they are heavily patrolled by men in the same garb as your captives. As you get closer, the gates swing upwards and they allow you to enter. The village itself is quite large, and you notice that it's actually filled with some sort, it's actually filled with people. So to your immediate right, there's a marketplace. There appears to be an inn of some sort, a smithy. Just beyond that, you see rows of bamboo huts, which seem to be where people live. They're about 3 levels high, and from the looks of it, it's where the local inhabitants of the village live. Further afield, though, you see an area which is walled off. So poking out above the wall, you see the tops of a few large buildings. As you look at the gates, when you're moving into the village now, one of them opens and you see a large patrol of soldiers come out. So there's clearly like a martial area, and then you've got the village itself, the village proper. Now on your left, as you're moving forward, you see a small group of 3 huts surrounding a well, and actually these look quite luxurious and quite secluded from the rest of the village, and you seem to be kind of being drawn towards that area. Behind the luxurious kind of huts that you see, there's crops and fields, and you can see animals and all that sort of stuff. So for all intents and purposes, it is a fully functioning village. The thing, however, which strikes you is in the middle of the village stands a dark tower. The first thing you notice is its size. It is colossal, not so much in diameter, but its height. In fact, the impression that it gets as it climbs up, it goes through the low-lying clouds, you can't even see the top of it, and it almost seems like it goes on forever. Now, a structure of this sort of size could be seen for miles in any direction. However, none of you remember seeing this tower until now. It is entirely made of obsidian and built in the style of a pagoda. So that's the Japanese style of construction. Yeah, cool. You can see where windows have been carved into the stone. However, you cannot see any lights coming from them. All the buildings in the village seem relatively new compared to this tower. It feels ancient. And the longer you look at the tower, the more it seems as if the stone is flowing, like a black river. The tower is solid enough. It's not an illusion, but there is something that almost seems fluid about it, and it flows upwards. The party halts in front of the tower. All of your captives face it and bow in unison. The man who spoke to you on the cliff face turns to address you. Behold, the Blood Temple. We will talk about this at length, but first you must rest. Come, your lodgings are not far. So you're led past the tower towards those 3 bamboo huts that surrounded the well that I told you about earlier. Now these huts are much more lavish than the ones you've passed in the village. They are elevated off the ground by 4 large poles. They have rice paper sliding doors and little balconies. As you get closer, you see beautiful women dressed in delicate, colourful silks, frantically running around, cleaning the steps and carrying food and linen into the huts. So for your reference, they almost look like geisha women.
Right.
So next to the well is a shorter, fatter and older geisha woman. She seems to be the one in charge. She somehow has fit into the same outfit as the younger women, but it doesn't quite fit. She's barking orders at them in a language that none of you understand. When she sees you coming, she screams at the girls and they all come running out in formation in front of the well to greet you. You all notice that one of the girls is staring at the warrior, the dark-skinned warrior, the tall one, and it becomes quite apparent that she has never seen anyone that looks like this. She kind of leans into her friend and whispers something, and they both start to giggle. The old fat one sees them, runs over and slaps her in the face, and goes, nah, 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 nah. They all kind of go, okay. They kind of step there. She then waddles back to the front of the line, and they all bow as one, and then shuffle off into the village, bar one woman that stays in the front of each of the huts. Forgive my wenches for their tardiness. They shall be punished accordingly. Here are your lodgings. I trust you will find them sufficient. At that, the dark-skinned warrior, he kind of looks around, he sees one of the lodgings and he walks in there by himself and slams the door shut. There are 2 other huts. Anak and Sahid kind of stand there for a moment. This gentleman who says, my name, as I have already said, my name is Chai Lang. Tonight, you will dine with me, but now rest, eat. I will come for you shortly. Please. And then he turns and with the guard leaves. So essentially how the huts will work is you 4 are directed to one hut, Anak and Sahid are directed to their own, and the other warrior has taken up his own place in this hut. So you're kind of led into the hut. However, before you go in, now would be a time where you could talk to each other if you wish.
Before we go in?
Well, yeah, you kind of you can just go straight in and talk there, but I mean, you've now been left to your own devices.
And Chai Lang has left, has he?
Yes.
Did he, what about all of the guards?
There are none.
They've all gone? All of the guards have gone.
Mm-hmm. There's just the 3 women.
So they've walked off with Chai Lang, basically?
Yes.
Are we still bound?
No. That's something I should have mentioned. He's unbound you. He says you must rest. Yeah.
Right.
So, to give you some kind, you are still in a walled city. Yeah. So from where you are, although you're kind of far away from the main hustle and bustle, there's you have the crops there, but there's wall, and there are guards patrolling the walls. You do, I will tell you this for now, you do kind of get a feeling that you are being watched, although you have been left to your own devices and told that you must rest in this place.
Yeah. Pollux doesn't really say anything. What he does is he takes, like, he's never heard of any place like this ever. So he's basically he's just been kind of looking at it, awestruck. After that interaction has happened, he's basically kind of looked back at the tower and just regarded it for a second, and then looks at you two really briefly, like you guys really briefly, and then starts to make his way towards one of the hut, recognizing that I really need to rest. So he basically makes his way straight there.
Okay.
How far away are the crops, did you say?
So you're from you, there'd be a few hundred meters.
Okay.
So it's very secluded, and then a bit further on you can see like rice patties, and then there's corn there, and you see a pen where there's like chickens and stuff running around, and there seems to be people working those men and women working those sorts of crops and looking after those animals.
What's the ground like?
Through the crops?
Like where we are?
Where you are now, it's grass.
Okay. I sort of I kneel down. I sort of put my hand on the ground. Look up. I presume it's like not a cloud in the sky. Really quite warm.
No, actually, don't you remember there's that light rain which has been
Oh,
falling?
of course.
Yeah. So which hasn't relented. It's quite light, like it's light cloud, but it is also rain. It is like it's kind of raining on you. And again, that's kind of what cuts off the top of this dark tower,
Right,
that
okay.
you can see, or the blood temple, as it were.
Okay. So I sort of I kneel down. I put my hand upon the grass. I sort of smell almost like the fresh rain. Look around. I spy like the warriors that are patrolling the walls. Lead there, and I go to the hut.
Sure.
I watch you do all of this, and then look to you.
This place isn't right, is it?
No.
What the bloody hell's going on?
He looks up at the tower. I don't know. But the gods, they do not like it here.
Why do you say that?
He looks up at the tower again. Why? Why could we not see it from the sea? This structure is not at peace with the land.
Well, I can tell you this for free. I'm not at peace with that. That's wrong. What is this?
It smells of the Demrag.
Whatever's brought us here, this is it. We've been captured, and captured, and captured again. But here we are. We've been brought here for this. Whatever this thing is.
Do we try to escape?
I think that would be unwise.
Kote looks to your wounds, and then he looks to his leg. I am not sure that I could yet.
I think even if we were fit and able, there's too many guards. We're being watched now. I can feel it. I think for now we just do what they say. Rest up and see what the fates have in store for us.
For now. For now. Kote gestures to step up to Pagoda. Walk up. Yeah, he walks with you.
Okay. So you head in to this hut. Inside, you see that there's 4 beds. They seem quite basic, but also very comfortable. They're on the floor as well. In the center of the room, you see a table laden with all sorts of food. It's just been prepared. You can literally smell all of the aromatic flavors coming off it, and it smells absolutely delicious. The woman who was at the front of the door, she kind of bows and says, "Anything you need, I'll be just outside." She goes and sits. And yeah, you guys are allowed to eat.
I go straight for it.
Yeah, you're all very hungry at this stage.
Okay, so joins you immediately.
Yeah.
Pollux also goes straight for it. He starts like considering each bit of food, like what's there, you know, instead of just digging straight in because of where he's from, which you don't really know about. He starts to take a piece of fruit, for example, and just kind of smells it, regards it, and then and as he's eating, even though he's starving, he still takes the time to savor the flavor and the texture and all that kind of thing. It's almost like, and you can actually see him kind of like close his eyes, and this is like giving him joy.
Yeah, great.
Which you haven't actually probably yet sensed in him for at all probably.
Are there windows in the hut?
Yeah, they're kind of closed. But again, this is not like a cell that you have been in at all. It's like a really nice residence.
Sure. So what I do is you guys have gone for the food. I've gone past the food to each of the windows. I'm looking out to see if I can see anyone there.
What, as
Like
in looking at you?
or around the vicinity.
Nothing really.
I then go back to the front door and I open it.
Mm-hmm.
Is
The woman's there.
is she
She kind of looks up at you. Yes, master.
slam the door? I go over to the food. I grab just like a hunk of bread, break it. Toma, Viriana. And then I gesture to the three of you. Well, I presume it is not poison because you three are still standing.
We are in perpetual danger. If this is poison, so be it, in my opinion. It tastes quite good. Will you stop worrying and sit down and join us for a second? Appreciate the finer things in life while we still have them.
I am with the Northmen. If they wanted us dead, we would be.
Agreed, and yet this is still a bizarre concept for prisoners, no?
Very.
But that is what we are, make no mistake.
Yes.
So. What do we do?
Apart from the food,
Mm-hmm.
what else is in this room?
In the center of the room, you've got and this table is laden with like all sorts of different food. You've got like it looks like some sort of, you can't quite tell what kind of bird it is, but there's a big bird in the middle of it, which has all these lovely flavors coming off it. There's rice, fresh corn, fruit, some sort of dumplings that you can see there as well. It's all very hearty, and when you eat it, you start just to feel better. Like your worries start to kind of subside. It's comfort food, which has been designed specifically for the reason it would seem of bringing you guys back to some sort of level of health. On the outside, you've got 4 beds. So it's quite a basic room, but the beds look really quite comfortable. They're on the floor. There is no kind of partitions between the beds or anything like that, so it looks like you're expected to all sleep in the same room. But if you were to sit on the bed and stuff, it's really comfortable. Mm-hmm. And the second you sit on it, like all these aches and pains, you start to feel come through based on what you've been through in the last 48 hours.
Yeah. So I'm looking around. It's not kitted out with anything else in particular. No,
not really.
Okay, cool.
Great.
So yeah, I'll continue to eat, and every now and again, it looks like I really am not just hungry, but interested in this food. Like, I'm looking at it, thinking where it's from, how fresh it is, and all that kind of thing.
I look around at the table and all of the food. stand up. I go back to the front door.
Yes, master?
How much of the common tongue do you speak?
Enough?
The strongest alcohol that you have.
Okay.
Jericho is peeked. He's behind him as you open the door.
So you kind of see
smile.
because
He's got a bit of a grin on his face.
because like I said, you can see that it is kind of like, they're all like paper kind of walls, so you can kind of see shadows and stuff move past it. You see her kind of stand up and she kind of walks down, and then you see someone kind of run into the center, and she kind of, you can see they have some sort of conversation. So this is right near the well, and then she comes back and sits where she was. Probably about 10-15 minutes pass, and then a bottle is brought back, and you can see again the shadows kind of preparing it. Comes in with 4 glasses. It's in just a green bottle. There's no markings or anything on it, and she puts it down, and she kind of bows very deeply. Made of rice. And goes to leave. Sits down outside.
That confuses the heck out of Rin. I slam it into the middle of the table and just pour myself a glass.
Yeah, cool. So
Hakote takes. It's in a jug, is it? Like a porcelain.
it's in like this green bottle,
Okay.
actually. Yeah, and there's 4 glasses around the side of it. So when you open it and you pour it, like it stings your eyes. It's very strong, and you know that if you were to have more than 1 or 2 of these, then that would probably be a problem.
I slam it.
Yeah.
Hakote, sort of as he's half pouring this, notices that you slammed the whole thing, smells it, then hands it to you.
My.
Pours another, hands one to you.
She said made of rice, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. See, I take a look at the glass, and again, much like the food, I'm regarding it. I kind of swish it a little bit, smell it a little bit.
Do you want to drink it or make love to it?
We don't just eat with our mouths. Where I'm from, I am a farmer. We grow grapes and other foods and herbs. I have never tasted drinks such as this. I have heard of wines that are made from rice. Remarkable. He takes a small sip and just kind of takes it all in.
Sure. So if you slammed it, you are already starting to feel the effects of alcohol, and considering how tired you are, quite strongly, you become quite drowsy quite quickly.
Okay, well, Hakote pays no minds to this, because this all sort of happened quite quickly.
Yeah.
He pours you another, and then he pours one for himself, and he raises his cup, and he says to you all, "In my culture, we do not drink with people we do not know. I am Hakote Chanichka. I am Haroni. I would know your names." And he still holds his cup out. It looks like a sort of a cheers or some sort of ritual.
Yeah. I raise my glass to you as well. I am Pollux. I come from the Urea Valley, near Farandir. My family are farmers. I wanted to be an alchemist. When you met me, I was on my way home from the college, from Sansa. I'm glad that you are here.
Hakote lowers his head and says, "Did you say the Urea Valley?"
The Urea Valley.
Yeah.
You would have heard of it. It's very much inland, near the Tears, I think it is, not too far from that lake. If you have common knowledge of that area of the world, You know that Urea Valley is a valleyed region that is very well known for all sorts of produce, wine, grapes, etc.
Right.
And it's considered to be one of the most fertile areas in the world.
Well, he lowers his head and then he looks at you in the eye and says, "Pollux of the Urea, the Heroni know your name." And then he looks to you.
I'm Jericho Quintus, a loyal son of Farandir. I was once a knight in Farandir. I was betrayed by my order and I've been lost for many, many years. I feel like the last few days have been a metaphor for my life somehow, so this is all very ironic. But perhaps this will be the beginning of a new journey for us.
Hakote smiles at you and regards you. "Jericho of no tribe, the Heroni know your name."
The Rinnerik Atanor Taxor of the Otoag tribe of Niflheim.
Dervix! And I hold my glass out for everyone.
"Rinnerik of Niflheim, the Heroni know your name." He then does put his cup out.
Do the same.
Yeah.
And then he downs the whole thing.
Excellent. So, a little bit more chat happens, but quite frankly, this alcohol is incredibly strong. And it also seems to have properties which will seem to make you drowsy anyway. Not like you've been purposely put to sleep, but it's just considering that you've been awake all night and you're now having you've had like a really nice hot meal, you're in a warm house.
You must be exhausted.
You guys are
really exhausted.
So try as you might to stay up, actually, you kind of all, within the next 20 to 30 minutes, retire to your beds and you sleep. So you don't know for exactly how long you sleep, but you take the benefits of a full rest.
Yay.
So all of your hit points are returned.
Tremendous.
Spell slots, etc.
So as an Ashai, I would only sleep for about 4 hours. So I mean, would this
Have a lie-in.
Yeah, would this continue sort of this, or not necessarily the the magical properties of this, but would this sort of area and thing, would it have any additional?
However long you've been asleep, you're not entirely sure, but actually you are awoken by the sound of short bursts of horn for all of you. So where it's now nighttime, none of you can quite tell how long you've been asleep, but you get all the benefits of that rest. Yeah. So you hear this. You're the woman who's been set out the front. "Masters, you are summoned for dinner." So outside, so she kind of beckons you to kind of join. I'm assuming everyone does.
Yes.
I always like to give the option.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What is there anything in terms of change of clothes and stuff like that? Because I don't think we've had the opportunity to scrub up or anything.
Not at this stage.
Okay, so we are as we have been.
Yes.
Okay.
Although, yeah.
Dressed for dinner.
Sure. All right.
I'm gonna take a swig from the bottle of not whatever's left, just like
So you do notice the bottle is no longer there.
I reach for.
You can see like she kind of catches that look and she kind of goes as if she's in on some sort of joke.
I just push past her.
So outside you see the others are all assembled as well, and there is a group of soldiers waiting to take you away. So you exchange pleasantries and hellos, and then they kind of gather you up. And you're not bound or anything like that, but you are surrounded by a group of guards, and they are armed.
An escort.
Yes, exactly.
Cast arms are paid out.
On everyone. Legs of Nader. You were taken through the village, and you actually are taken towards that walled off section that you saw earlier, which looked like the martial part of the village. So as you get closer, you see the gatehouse with a massive iron gate that is being opened so that you may enter. Inside the walled section, to your right, you see a massive building which appears to be some sort of military barracks. Outside, you see the soldiers, and they seem to be training, practicing some sort of martial arts kata, all as one. So there's someone going, "Hey!" and they go, "Ah, hey, ah." So again, they're all masked except for the leader, who's kind of taking them through that, and he wears a red bandana. He looks a bit older. He's got all sorts of scars all over his face. So whoever these people are, and none of you recognize them as any sort of military force or anything that you would know throughout the basics of Arcadon. You don't recognize them at all. But whoever they are highly trained. And by the looks of the kata they're performing, quite violent in their style of fighting. In front of you, as you move past this, you see what looks like some sort of church, but whatever god is worshipped there you can't really tell. It looks like a place of worship, but there's no markings or statues out the front of it. It's just you recognize it or even feel that it's some place of worship. The soldiers direct you towards that. So inside the church hall is it dimly lit lamps hanging from the ceiling. Again, there are no markings or paintings or statues. And in the center of the room is a large table, which again is set with a lavish banquet. Now you all still kind of feel quite full. But what is laid before you is about 10 times more extravagant than you see like flagons of wine, all of the cutlery is made of gold, there's exotic fruits from all over Arcadon, there's a full roast hog there, you've got different birds of different varieties, all sorts of roast vegetables. The smell is absolutely intoxicating. I want you to imagine the greatest feast you've ever been to, or banquet, or all-you-can-eat buffet, and make it 10 times better. That's how good this thing is.
Pollux is just marveling at this. He's never seen anything quite like it. And those close within earshot can almost hear him muttering to himself, "Do I dream?"
In front of you, at the head of this table, you see the man who is from the beach, who kind of brought you in. He's dressed in black silks. As you all kind of enter, the two doors behind you kind of slowly close. You can see there are a couple of guards in the room, and you can also see that there are serving staff off to the sides, waiting to be in attendance of you. He motions you to sit.
Kote steps forward, takes a seat.
I go to take a seat. I sit as close as I can to Charlene as I can. That's the sentence. I sit as close as I can to Charlene.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Very good.
Yeah, I'll sit down as well.
Do you sit?
I wait for these three to sort of go. I pan around the room a little bit. As I walk towards, is it like a table sort of at the end that we are? Or is it just at that particular end of the table?
So it's it's a long table down the center of this room.
Okay.
And again, it's kind of like there's silks and stuff, but it's almost looks like this used to be used for something else, a place of worship, and it doesn't seem to be anymore. And whoever was worshipped here has been removed. And there's a long wooden table down the centre of it.
Yeah, so as they go up, I, like I say, sort of regard the room, pan around a little bit, follow after them, but I grab a flagon of wine as I'm walking.
Sure. Well, when you sit down, there's one right next to you anyway. There is plenty.
I now
of
have
wine
two.
around. Exactly. Anak, Sahid, and the other warrior, they come and they join as well. And so you're all sat closer up towards him. And he kind of looks at you for a moment. I trust you are rested. My name, as I said before, is Chai Lang, and I am the custodian of the Blood Temple, and the last remaining mystic of the Yin Kang Order. Welcome. You are my guests, and I wish you all that you need and desire.
I desire to leave.
And that you may well do, but not yet.
Shailan,
Yes.
this is a marvel. We are, I'm sure, grateful for everything so far.
You are welcome, Pollux.
Seeing that you, I haven't told you his name yet, have I?
Nope.
No. Seeing that, he just kind of like pauses for a moment, then shifts in his seat and goes, "But what is this all for?"
I thought we could eat first. However, if you wish to know why you are here, we can get straight to it.
Yes.
Very well. As you well know, the war in heaven not only divided the people of Arcadon, but the gods as well. Some joined Bahana and defied their god king, the Demiurge, in defense of the first people, while others bent their will to the destruction of the first people in the service of the Demiurge. One such god was known as Baal, a particularly malevolent being who had taken to eating the souls of his victims to grant him unnatural strength and power. After the war in heaven and the defeat of the Demiurge, Baal fled into hiding, right here on this island. He took the form of a monk-cow, much like the Demiurge had at first, and began using his twisted magics to create fell creatures of his own. He began to terrorize the local inhabitants, my people, capturing, torturing, and consuming them. For over 100 years we were helpless, unable to withstand his ferocity and wickedness. We were lambs, and he was a butcher. But as the dust settled after the destruction of Ebahu, mana started to seep into the world. Ebahu's final gift was to bestow the power of the gods to us all. My people were particularly attuned to it, as a fragment of Ebahu's trunk crashed into a woodland near our village. As mana began to course through our veins, we became stronger, and the strongest of us decided to fight back. The Yin Kang Order rose in a mighty fury imbued with our new gifts. We came to this island to face Baal, with the righteous flame of Bahana in our hearts. The battle was furious, and although we fought well, we were, after all, only mortals. When the battle was all but lost, our mystics, much like Bahana herself, sacrificed themselves with a binding spell, a blood ritual that stripped Baal of his mortal flesh and bound him and his minions into his tower for all eternity. Or so we thought. Baal is a powerful god, Even now he seeks to be free from his prison, to unleash a second age of death upon Arcadon. The magic that binds him there is waning. Every 300 years the ritual must be performed again. The only way to break this cycle would be to confront Baal and destroy him once and for all. The runes were cast, and it was your names that were brought forward. You must enter the Blood Temple, and you must kill a god. If you fail, the ritual will be complete and Baal shall be bound in his prison once again. But this needless sacrifice of life must be stopped, and we believe you have the power to do so. That is why you are here.
Kote shakes his head. You would have us go into the temple?
Yes, you will go into the temple.
And how many of your people will be joining us, considering it is your people's burden?
The runes chose you, not me.
Rin's sort of picking at the table at this point with one of the forks, just like digging sort of bits out of it.
And yet, this Baal is no god that I have heard of. Not a part of any of my people's teachings, nor any of the other tribes of Niflheim. This Baal, I do not believe is a god. If he was, surely he would speak to the people that speak to the gods. You say that your people have trapped him, and yet the Demiurge still has influence upon this world, and he was destroyed years ago.
The Demiurge's stain was blown out onto the world with his destruction, as you well know. Many gods walked the earth even after he left. Baal was one of his generals. There are writings of him.
I would be very interested to see these writings.
And you can read, can you?
I slam the fork into the table.
I can read the writings of the gods, if they are the writings of gods. If they are the writings of Monkau, Ashai, Durakan, are they truly the writings of the gods, or simply what the mortals want us to see?
I have brought you here as allies, not as prisoners. However, the ritual will be completed, whether you wish it or not.
If we are your allies, why? Why did you not ask us?
Look at his reaction.
It's true, I would not have believed him.
Humans are imperfect. Sometimes unworthy.
Monkawa, it is true, but within us, the brightest flame bellows.
Pollux, after hearing that, reaches for a flagon of wine and pours a glass. He regards it the same way he did with the rice wine before. After he's taken in the aroma, he sits back up again and says, "Where I'm from, there are many things with properties that you may not have heard of, but we don't sell them at market. There is a wine grape that when it grows and is consumed straight from the vine, said to produce hallucinogenic properties. There is also a herb known in many tongues as holy grass. I know it is Herba Sanctus. It was said that the reason such things grow at home is because those who escaped the war, the wrath that befell this region, it was because of them that left with Bohana's guide that they were able to preserve the soil, the seeds. I would carry them with me. I don't have them anymore. If it wasn't for the Demriarch, this place would still be living, fertile, growing. If the stain of the Demriarch needs to be eradicated, I'll do it.
You speak with a wisdom beyond your age, Pollux. You see beyond the trivialities of this one.
The trivialities of the gods, yet you ask us to kill a god. Jericho, what do you make of this? You are a man of the cloth, are you not?
I was. I'm also a man of reason. There's 7 of us. You got an army outside, why don't you send them in?
As I have already said,
The runes.
the room.
Sod the runes.
It is not that simple.
What were to happen if we did not complete your ritual? Would the runes pick out someone else?
No. The time is too short. Baal would go free.
So what are your men training for? If not a war?
If you fail, if he breaks free anyway, if you decide not to go into the temple, however, you are my allies, but you will go into that temple.
That's very convenient for you. What's in there?
Horror.
Death.
Well, the runes say you might do it. This will not be the first ritual I have seen, but it is the strongest. The stars are in the right part of the sky. The tide of mana is strongest at this time.
So it has failed before. Where is Baal?
Your definition of fail is different to mine. As I said, if the ritual fails and you die, the blood ritual is complete, and you are bound with your souls to his, and keep him captured within the tower. If you succeed in defeating him, there will be no more need for this ritual.
Death is a doorway.
Time is a window.
A window that you have been looking through for some time. You say this is not the first.
No.
You said every 300 years.
Yes.
And it looks, the Kote sort of looks at you more closely.
He does. He looks old. He doesn't look that old. And also, that would be a natural long life for a Monkau. It's not unheard of for some Monkau with a particular level of power, witch sight, mana that flows through them to live maybe for a couple of 100 years, but 300, that's a long time.
You are not a shy.
No, I am not. As I said, I am the last mystic of the Yinkang. The last custodian of the Blood Temple. And I have been blessed and cursed with unnatural long life.
We've been blessed and cursed with unnaturally bad luck. So what do we do?
Refuse and we die. Go in, you probably die.
Well, on the
Either
bright
way.
side, the stars are aligned, so that's good.
Yeah, the runes have foretold it. And the ritual will be complete.
Forgive me. I realize this is a lot to take on at once. And if there was any other way, well, we have tried.
Not very hard, apparently.
There is a reason I am the last mystic.
But the rest not very good.
The rest tried and failed.
Have you tried?
So you have not had a chance to succeed.
You go first.
We will follow you.
I am the last one who can open the doors.
Leave it open, it's fine. We will follow you, it's okay.
No, I will not leave that door open and spill Baal out onto the world of Arcadon
Close it
to
down.
spend 2,000 years of darkness.
You'll be dead, you won't mind.
I will mind.
What if he is right?
That there is some lesser god that is trapped in a, admittedly, very strange place. But one that has been bound by blood sacrifice every 300 years. If he is right, then in another 300 years, this will just continue to happen. The old ways are the old ways, and they are written and steeped in blood and death. No old god that has a ready supply of blood sacrifice can be stopped by mere mortals. It took a god to destroy a god back in the war in heaven. And even that required sacrifice. Were we to do this, why do I have a feeling that, let us say we killed a god and we leave? Will we be loaded with parades, riches, women, our stories scribed in the annals of time?
No,
No, of course not.
but you will know in your hearts that you killed a god and stopped his evil reign from overthrowing everything that Bahana has taught.
More importantly, how long will we be able to record that in our hearts before we are silenced for the dark secrets of this place?
You misunderstand me. That is not my intention. I want nothing more than all of you to live. But you have been chosen, and whether you live or die is now out of my hands.
I disagree. It is entirely in your hands.
No, Rin, it is not. There are powers older than yours and your gods that power through all of the veins of this world. They called out to you and brought you here. Nothing that has happened over the last few days has been not orchestrated.
And that is what concerns me. Destiny and fates.
Well, I hope for your sake you start to believe in it. For the ritual will commence on the dawn of the second morning. You will be there. You will partake. We will give you all of the tools necessary to succeed. But it is you, and you alone, that must enter that temple. Defeat Baal. Save us. With that, he stands. You have free leave of the village from now until then, and to prove that you are my ally, I give you these gifts. So from the shadows, some of those servers come out and they put a chest in front of each of you. When you open the chest, you find your belongings that you have been stripped of over the last few days. So if you started wearing armor, it's in there. A pouch of dirt, that's in there.
I go straight forward.
Weapons,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
You'll see Pollux kind of like clambering and just reaching into his back. He's got this like satchel, and he's kind of looking around. He's checking everything. He takes out one pouch, looks at it, smells it. You can see that it's like regular tobacco, and then it takes out another pouch, opens it. It looks similar to tobacco, but Herba Sanctus.
Good. Your weapons and belongings. I would remind you that you are on an island. I have well over 1,000 men at my disposal. Your only means of leaving this island is by completing the ritual. Now eat, converse. Friendship will be needed. You may leave when you wish. The inn has particularly potent rice wine. He stands, bows, and without another word, he leaves.
I look down at the chest. I sort of don't even regard him as he leaves. I pull out this bit of corded leather. It's like wrapped in dried leaves, vines, teeth, bits of metal, claws. I fasten it around my neck. I turn to Hakote. Yes, the belongings that were stolen from us at Sitar, orchestrated by the gods, of course. I turn to the other two. None of us should trust this man. None of us are doing some divine ordained fate, Pollux. We are meant to die here. By our hand, by that temple's hand, or by his hand. Make no mistake of this. But until then, I may as well live.
Yeah, Hakote seems deep in thought. He doesn't even open the chest. It's like he knows that it is going to be the impossible. All of those belongings that should be somewhere far away here. And it's almost like he doesn't want to open them. He turns away from Rin and says to you, but what if Chai Lang is telling the truth? Can we really turn our back on the Hun?
I'll never turn my back on Bahana.
Nor I.
She's the only thing consistently good in my life. And let's be honest, this would be a bit of an elaborate ruse, really. For what other reason have they brought us here? This would have cost a fortune. We've travelled for miles. It makes no sense. The whole thing is preposterous.
As you guys are still talking, Pollux is still kind of going through his things, just checking, make sure everything's still there. And he reaches in and he pulls out what is clearly like a grimoire or a spell book, and he doesn't open it completely because he doesn't want people looking at it, but he just kind of regards it. I will not turn my back. And you almost see a tiny grin crack in his face.
Yeah,
And he continues to drink his wine.
Looks beyond him, back at you, Jericho.
We that know the gods should guide those that don't.
Aye. I sort of look towards you and just take the sword out from the chests. Just sort of sheathe it here.
Have you got some huge sword?
No, a bunch of stuff in that chest.
Well, on that note, I think that might be an appropriate time to end the session.
I just got our stuff back.
It has been a journey, gentlemen, and you have done very well.
Tense.
You now know why you have been brought to this mysterious island.
Yeah, to kill Pollux, he's crazy.
And what your purpose is. So, until next time, thank you again for watching, and we will see you very soon.